People like to say Pokemon Battle Revolution has a problem. An issue of beating the game, then magically all the post-game's content just ends up being too hard for players lacking their DS Pokemon. Some content may just be completely inaccessible, others daunting to a high degree, or other variations of obscene power creep. As the title suggests, we're gonna run the Masters Battle from front to back to beat it with rental-only Pokemon, to prove at least one leg of this competition is possible. After all, this is the game's crown gem of single-player content. You got hand-picked teams, you got actual strategies, it's actually revolutionary. But sadly, the journey to do so was a long and bleak road. But here, gamers, this is the story of how I beat Pokemon Battle Revolution's Masters Battle with only rental Pokemon, because using customs and spamming Scarf Water Spout is just too damn broken and reliable. Kicking off this multi-month journey, we gotta commit the heinous act of starting a new save file, as we wanna beat this with rentals only, but also prove that beating the Masters battles is possible with 0 imports. Important to note, as the 4th battles of sets 4 and 8 are different if imports are on the table. Denying imports even to not use them will keep the run pure. That's our only restriction. Okay, so the first step in the run requires beating the main game to unlock the Masters battle in the first place. So we ran it from front to back, unnecessarily grabbing all the rental passes along the way, despite only really needing 4 total for spare mons. But the extra firepower will at least make the early steps of getting through the game easier. But wow, no way, it's already beat because it's a complete cakewalk, as these mons are intended to beat the main game naturally, especially when the later mons are gotten. Wow. Anyways, this is where the main bulk of the run kicks in, as the trade battle will not only demand skill in navigating to the higher ranks, but even luck just for the actual matchups. But even the mons themselves are luck based. I mean, I've done it like 5 times before. It's pretty easy to navigate once you got an idea. But the real issue is getting the highly min-maxed mons. A grind that could have been cut so much sooner in the grand scheme of things. But from here, gamers, is where our mons for the Masters battle are gotten. So let's introduce you to these beasts. We have 7 in total, but to go down the line, we begin with the Naive Infernape, featuring a black belt, the obligatory close combat and flare blitz, alongside the mandatory protect and the flex slot of secret power. The plus speed alone is going to make a massive difference in the lineup of things we can beat. Combine that with its broken stabs, and we are cooking. Protector's a third move will prove itself to be invaluable, just you wait. Our Gyarados here was actually picked up in a singles run of the trade battle. It comes with a docile nature which is suboptimal, but we get a Wakan Berry and Natural Gift as a means to blow through other Gyarados that aren't of course running a Wakan Berry. Aqua Tail, Earthquake, and Dragon Dance are all the trademarks of a singles gotten Gyarados, being confirmed move slots, where if I picked it up through doubles, we could have had Protect instead, having a distinct lack of coverage. Our third mon is a Salamence, Lonely Nature, once again not being the greatest since its bulk is being cut into, Dragon Claw as the bread and butter, Crunch because it doesn't get good flying type moves, alongside the obligatory Protect and the duo of Natural Gift plus Yachi Berry. These 2 Intimidate mons are gonna go a long way. Next is probably the best Pokemon on this entire lineup, despite the massive lack of optimization. A Relaxed Nature Metagross with leftovers, with both of those little distinctions being bad. In terms of its moveset, it's got the better physical focus set, featuring Meteor Mash, Send Headbutt, and Thunder Punch. I got lucky with its 4th slot being generated as Explosion. Undoubtedly the most useful tool here, oh you better believe it. It's the main reason Protect gets to be broken at all. Next is our team's oddball, but also, wait, why does this actually work, being Jolteon. It's modest with a Choice Scarf. It clicks Thunder and Shadow Ball with no other moves mattering. Trust me, the Scarf may seem redundant, but it will be very important later on. Although in the grand scheme of things, a Focus Sash could have worked very nicely here. The 6th member is an Explosion immunity with Gengar. With an Impish nature in a spell tag, it's got 4 attacks with Shadow Ball, E-Ball, and 2 other attacks that we won't see nearly as much. And as for that 7th member, we'll come back to that one. It's our secret Muscatool that'll help us later. After a while of trying to trade out the squad for some minor side grades, I took a bit of a break, only for one day to say fuck it, the team's good enough, I'll make it work. Mediocre natures or items alike, which is where the trade battle grind ends, and we get on to the actual challenge as to why you're even here. Due to the power level of each set ramping up over time as we go, it's no shocker that set 1 is gonna be free, and the first battle is no exception. Bug spam, but they love clicking Protect sometimes. So of course we open with Fernape plus Metagross lead, putting the old reliable strat, you better get used to it now, of Protect plus Explosion to take the double frag on the Kricketune and Vespiquen, despite neither of them being threats. And with this position, the game's already over. I need to let it be known at this point, I'm playing through the game, and I do not have the trainer data up on the side. This means I do not see the Montum's Focus Sash, where I will end up splitting my targeting, where nothing actually dies this turn. Despite the throw, we get lucky with Wormadam's double Quick Claw procs failing to actually make a difference, and Infernape plus Gengar will end up closing this game with no issue. The second battle is solely built upon spamming Fling, and we start with an immediate misplay in this battle, as I do the exact same opening turn 1 just to get cock-blocked by a damp Quagsire. So Metagross takes an unnecessary burn and Earthquake damage, with turn 2 involving switching out Infernape for Gengar to avoid the Earthquake, while Metagross sadly falls. Although this is actually a blessing in disguise, as now I'm able to bring in Jolteon and take a double KO this turn. Jolteon thundering the bouncing Lopunny in a very obscure interaction people forget even in the game. Meanwhile, a Gengar E-Ball is more than enough to drop the curtain on Quack. Then comes Pelipper and Medicham, who both fall on the next turn. Thunder into Pelipper is very self-explanatory, and the Shadow Ball crit probably mattered. Battle 3 doesn't really have a revolving strategy in terms of its teams, so of course, we pick the most obvious lead. We click our turn 1 Protect plus Explosion, but the combo is rudely interrupted as both the Pachirisu and Luxray outrun Metagross. Not only does Flatter confuse the S tier plus Mon, but the Luxray's Fang actually manages to flinch. So, on turn 2, I pivot out of Infernape to Gengar for the turn 2 boom, which is of course risky, where the Pachirisu once again goes for hacks into Metagross, and Gengar has to eat a Thunder Fang. But the explosion actually does go off, so it's at least 3-3 now. But oh wait, it's actually 3-2, because the Focus Sash leaves, Pachirisu is a basically dead slot on the field. As such, a Secret Power is used to get the downsideless frag through Infernape, and the incoming Mr. Mime couldn't take a Shadow Ball, leaving just the Drifblim in the back, where it falls courtesy of being outran by the 2 Mons on the field, bringing us to Battle 4, where everyone has Protect and spread moves exist to make them even more annoying, essentially upping how frequent their protection will be. We log into a Raptor Ape lead, where I double Protect turn 1 to even see what we can even do with both sides intimidated. Turn 2 goes well as Infernape attacks the Raptor. Mence takes massive chip damage before fragging the bird itself. Turn 3 is a double Protect turn, as without the trainer data, I assumed the Pikachu could have Fake Out. It doesn't. Turn 4 kicks off with a CC kill into the Pikachu. Yeah, the Intimidate from earlier doesn't matter when the rodent is frailer than the ego of some. Although that paralysis would be concerning. Man, if only the Mence could kill, because the Focus Blast absolutely does. The Empoleon is revealed in the back while I bring in Gara. From here, I read the Surf Protect combo. No way, it actually happens. Mence protects, Ape Protect, and Gara D-dances, while Empoleon makes a fool of itself. From here, there is no stopping Gara, and its Earthquake spam leads the game to being won without a sweat being broke. Ending set 1. Set 2 opens with the team of all time. They just want to be annoying and make no immediate progress. Luckily, my turn 1 lead of Jolt Ape isn't the worst. Believing in the Steelix having Explosion, it doesn't, plus Gengar swap to the play. The Carnivine stockpiles, and the Steelix duds its roar into Infernape. Seeing the Carnivine as a do-nothing Mon, CC barely fails the KO, but E-Ball finishes the job on Steelix, all at the cost of a Leech Seed. Roserade enters the field, and then it eats a Psychic and gets its own T-Spikes, while Infernape duds into the Vine Man for a great position where the double frag comes out onto the +1 Mon with Flare Blades, and Psychic finishing off the Mon that couldn't proc Focus Sash in the previous turn. Blissey comes in and instantly falls. GG, you're nothing more than a memory. Actually, you're not even a memory. Get the hell out of here. Battle 2 is built upon Tenta and Drapion spamming Acupressure, meaning the team wants setup time, something a simple Explosion lead shuts down, unfortunately only fragging the Chimecho, as Tentacruel of course protects. Turn 2, however, we take a trade deal. Their Ambipom for my Infernape with some Tenta HP on top. From here, I click Thunder and Dragon Claw 3 times each to close out the game. Nothing really happens in these terms, they just try to survive. I don't really know what Team 3 is supposed to be, so much as I bring Jolt plus Ape as the lead to eliminate the Crobat. Turn 1 is just that, with a Protect plus Thunder to remove it from being, while Cherim just leeches the Jolteon. In turn 2, Jolteon unfortunately misses, alongside Cherim proccing its Aqua Berry to survive, means I really don't get much offensive progress. But an Attract plus Toxic combo leads the next turn to be a Gyarados swap plus Protect. Gara takes some chip, but it doesn't really matter from here as Ape is able to finish the job on Cherim, and Gara crits an Aqua Tail just because it could, leaving just a Golduck who can't even take a single close combat. Leaving only the final battle against the infamous PP stalling team, where I bring in the double Protect lead with Gara plus Meta in the back. Leaving Jolteon out is obvious because Spite fight will lead it to struggling thanks to the Scarf, and Gengar was dropped because I thought these guys could actually offense him. With a turn 1 triple protect, Spiritomb gets a free double team off. Turn 2 is the Vespiquen frag, because why would it protect a second time in a row, while the Mance actually manages to connect the D-Claw, sadly at the cost of some more PP. Gengar comes out, and oh boy, no progress is made, and I lose crunch PP. Here I try to Flare Blitz the Spiritomb, but sadly miss the KO, into Mance actually fragging the Gengar at the cost of crunches. Weavile enters the field for another dead turn of double protects for positioning, before the inevitable close combat claims it, while the evasion booster also falls to a D-Claw, almost like it never boosted at all, rounding out set 2. Set 3 opens up with a Psych Up team, meaning slow setup mons are on the table, to dud into Metagross while he atomizes the field. Up 3-2, the incoming Perugly falls immediately for the Spiritomb in the back to try some hacks, but connecting 1 Flare Blitz and 2 Shadow Balls through the boost is enough to put him down. Battle 2 is a favorite of mine because it's an explosion team. As such, I lead with both my Protect mons and Gengar in the back to minimize casualties, seen immediately as the Golem explodes into 2 protectors and its ally Drifblim, who uses Focus Energy to at least try to make some form of progress. Turn 2 doesn't really go in my favor, as neither the Drifblim or Mismagius go down in a single hit, but again, they provide no pressure with setup on the next turn's victim, and Baton Pass that uses Focus Energy into the Crobat, trying desperately to get some cross poison crits. We protect again, and chew on the Mismagius to put away the only threat on the board, leaving the battle alone to do nothing, until next turn where the Gambit finally gets to show itself and fail utterly to do anything while I get big damage on it and live in bright powder hell while the Drifblim throws again. Knowing Ape is slower, I double protect, knowing that the previous turn's burn will at least finish the bat for the safest KO, while of course closing out the final kill on the balloon. Battle 3 has a few Oko moves, but otherwise isn't very scary at all. Here I lead into a turn 1 boom, but this time it's blue. While sacking Metagross into the 2 steals isn't the most obvious play, the chip is going to make a difference as Gengar enters the battle. I swap Ments for Ape, and then take Bronzong's heart, at the cost of a -1 Stone Edge. Then enters Gyarados, which doesn't treat my team nicely at all. Ape CC's Bastiodon for the KO, and Gengar Dark Pulse fails to flinch, resulting in it falling. Enter Ments and Whiscash. Infernape protects, Ments nearly misses to KO Gyara, but it's fine as they double target the Infernape, really proving Protect is just a crutch. With a crit CC, the Whiscash falls, and Ments is able to pick off the final Mon, bringing us on to Battle 4. A team built on KOing your Mons with a single hit through high crit rate moves or other nonsense. Enter Ambipom and Drapion, where turn 1, I misplay. With a Protecting Monkey, Ambipom fakes out the Metagross, causing me to get no momentum as the Drapion sets up. Turn 2 starts with a swap from Meta into Ments in an effort to intimidate the new threat. Infernape's able to frag the Ambipom, and Drapion's crit fishing fails. Medicham enters the battle and is promptly Flare Blitzed into oblivion, where Ments sadly falls to a damage range. Enter Machamp and Metagross, where the final turn doesn't matter, as Infernape tries its best, but Metagross tries even harder, finishing set 3 with ease. Although sadly, knowing what lies ahead, especially after some of our Focus Sash incidents and move pool lacks, I pull up the trainer data, finally, to push forward, to make planning just a little bit easier. Set 4 opens with an actual functioning team, but the catch is they all have damage-having weakness berries. Turn 1 starts with the biggest I can't read of all time, and a repeat from earlier. A turn 1 explosion blocked by Damp, but this time the foes get 0 value from it. So turn 2, I gamble. A CC into Bastiodon knocking it out, and a Zen Headbutt fishing for a flinch that doesn't happen, making Mr. Monkey take a dart nap. Gengar and Weavile hit the field before I can actually read this time, just to make sure there's no pursuit on that damn thing. Switching from Guard to Jolt, taking the incoming Night Slash, as Metagross lands a crucial Meteor Mash, and Quag double targets the Jolteon for some reason, sadly taking him out. The next turn starts well before I think disaster strikes. E-Ball turns the Quagsire into a memory, and Metagross unfortunately ends up missing the T-Punch paralysis that could have let Gengar live. Oh, he actually survived with 1 HP. Okay, never mind. My man simply wants it more, before failing to KO the Scizor, before leaving Big Bro to finish the fight. Battle 2 certainly has a team, one that is very prone to always leading with Follow Me Clefable. I lead Meta plus Ments into, sadly, a Rotom. I sack the Metal Man, only for a single KO as the Rotom gets momentum with Substitute, and Infernape and Bronzong enter the field. And one leaves instantly due to an unnecessary Flare Blitz crit, while Ments breaks the sub and Ape is knocked into Blaze. Striker comes out, and it's Sadly, Intim gets in the way of the craziest play, as the Blaze boosted Flare Blitz only KOs Infernape itself, while the Bird double-edged KOs both Ment and itself, where the possessed butt plug thankfully throws for content. Gengar outruns, and despite the Castleberry, somehow gets the KO. Battle 3 is a water-weak team reliant on Storm Drain, meaning a scripted lead with either Gastrodon or Lumineon. Leading Jolteon and Gengar to hit any lead, I'm greeted with Lumineon and Probopass. Thunder connects into the alleged Bright Powder Fish, instantly KOing it. Gengar tickles the Probopass while the funny Mustache Man gets a substitute. Rampardos enters to immediately be shocked back to the Stone Age. Gengar, still unable to handle the Probopass, can't even break the substitute as it sets up to not die while Golem enters the field. In a huge next turn, I swap the Shocky Boy out for Gera, who not only intims the Golem, but is even immune to the Quick Claw backed Earthquake, doing nothing as Gengar frags the Golem, finally pulling its weight. With a do-nothing Mon on the field all on its own, the sub breaks and EQ knocks it past a chance to win, as if Jolteon being immune to its only offensive attack wasn't enough already. Finally, bringing us to Mysterio's first team to close out set 4. The reason we started a new save in the first place. While most people could have potentially panicked at the lack of trainer notes on the trainer data page, I knew better. As with Mysterio's other teams, featuring the restricted legendaries, I know for a fact that his legendary that's also on his second team will always be the lead. Meanwhile, the Pixie in this fight will always be in the back, with the other two Mons being random. Meaning I only have to worry about the middle two Mons with a great Infernape angle if Snorlax or Lucario are in the back. With an easy choice, I lead Boomstrats into Crest and Empoleon. Turn 1, Crest Calm Minds instantly, as Metagross sacks itself, putting up no kills on the table. While seemingly doomed, it's the perfect turn. I bring in Gengar just to have Infernape clean up the Penguin, and for Gengar to mop up the Duck thing on the same turn, leaving no threats in sight. Even more perfectly, Mesprit enters alongside the Snorlax, meaning it's time for another frag to be added, but scratch that, it's actually 2 with Shadow Ball surprisingly KOs, closing out set 4 as easy as it could have been. The first half of this run has been deceptively easy, and so far, we've not lost a single time. However, this streak is unfortunately not gonna last. Kicking off set 5, we have a normal team with no strategy, just trying to be good, with strong items and movesets. So of course, it plus meta is the correct lead. Well, that is until I protect plus swap out turn 1 with camera up in the way, where I was in fear as the Kangaskhan targets the wrong slot entirely. Turn 2 is another swap with defensive play in mind, and of course, setup. The foes just really do fuck all this turn. They try, good for them. Turn 3 though is where our strat of nuke and cover begins. Ment's protecting, and Gera killing, even taking chip on the side. The Hitmonchan enters and is promptly double targeted, of course removing it from the field, while the funny Kangaroo can't do anything at -2, where the Venomoth enters and, surprise gamers, get this, gets double targeted again with a spread move, making this battle completely unlosable and essentially over. Battle 2 is another kind of good stuff type team, but it's actually hexing as we take our first loss courtesy of, surprise, some hacks. After trading my monkey for the glitchy duck turn 1, the Licky Licky simply gets lucky and Gera just becomes dead weight. Other nonsense goes down and Metagross just squat for damage, leaving Mence to lose a 1v1 to the most worthless normal type just because it was able to boost and survive an otherwise certain death from nonsense. Anyways, attempt 2 starts the way turn 1 should have gone, with the all-reliable lead and Quick Claw not really mattering into that beautiful 1-for-2 trade. One that's basically free as Licky Licky and Gallade enter alongside my Gyarados. CC fails to redeem my previous mistake despite actually KOing, and because of clever team building, Gera actually doesn't benefit from setting up because it dies instead. Anyways, with Mence out now and Intimidate, the battle's essentially over because the Glade cannot fight back effectively enough. Battle 3 might be a little familiar to some Scarlet and Violet players as it's just evolutions. I actually get the best case lead because the 2 Pokemons just collapse to an explosion. Well, the Sash may as well leave this one dead. Leafeon enters, and my position could not have been any better. 1 Shadow Ball finish, 1 Flare Blitz turned the battle straight into a 3v1. And all of that is just because the Glaceon's item, in this particular case, was actively hindered it into giving me a completely bonkers position. The most valuable thing in a Pokemon battle. Anyways, Espeon enters, wasting its 1 turn alive alive, hitting a Protect Mon. Meanwhile, Jolteon, of course, gets to finish the job. Leading into Battle 4, and oh boy, the power creep is real. It's another team where everything has Protect and is built upon the legendaries activating their same typed allies' ability via spread moves, meaning paired foes. With my reliable but blue lead, probably an instant loss into that double fire lead, where I immediately see Raikou plus Evire. Honestly, a pretty damn good lead, but blowing up on the waters would have obviously had more value. Regardless, it's a double frag with an unfortunate reflect in the way of my beautiful 3v2. The fighters are revealed to be in the back, where I double target the Arcanine because it's faster, where I unfortunately take a loss on Jolteon, throwing in Gara for the 2v1, for completing the two-step plan of boosting and sweeping because it was never gonna end fairly. Sorry, Entei, you were just that bad. Set 6 begins with a team built on being annoying with sleep moves. Predicting the lead, I bring Ape for its wall punching powers, and more importantly, the Jolteon just for the Blastoise, and wow, look at that! Protect plus Thunder grants me massive momentum, while the Paperweight of Dragon attempts to be useful. We Thunder again for massive chip, but sadly, the Altaria gets very important chip on the Ape, as Flare Blitzing into the Yanmega ends up as a 1-for-1 trade, where Gara and Persian hit the field, and Intimidate puts me ahead greatly. Gara eats a fake out, but it doesn't matter as Jolteon frags the Altaria and then hits the Persian with the "I'm gonna kill you too." Battle 2 is just weird, mainly the lack of Protect. Nothing has it for some reason. While it's good for the Metagross lead, I prep for theirs instead with 8 plus Gar into their Meta plus Sash Blaziken. With the Aqua Berry in the way, I double target the Metagross for the kill, and for some reason their Blaziken just kinda sucks because it didn't even OHKO the Gengar. Electrode enters and I have to act. Staying in, I leave Gengar to die, so Infernape can take out the Electrode, as Blaziken will proceed to make a fool of itself again. My Metagross enters, and so does their Gengar. Here's another case where Infernape's plus speed matters, as it's able to drop a Blaze-boosted Flare Blitz, bunking the Gengar immediately before falling to its own recoil. And now at this point, the Blaziken can clutch. It doesn't. Bro clicks Brick Break, and it just bounces off Metagross, where in return it gets knocked down to its Sash. With Gara now on the field in a 2v1 versus a 1 HP Mon, it simply ends. After the Blaze-boosted Blaze Kick fails the KO, that is. Battle 3 is one of the iconic battles, the Encore plus Disable combo. If I play Hyper Offense, I should never lose this. Meta plus Ape versus Zam plus Doubles Liability Wobbuffet puts me in a good position. Protect turn 1 keeps Ape safe, while the Boom ends Wob and brings Zams down to Sash. Dugong plus Gengar enter the field, and not knowing the Zam speed stat, I end up throwing. Ape attacks first and beats down the Sheer Cold Dugong, while Alakazam takes out the Gengar from full. Menz and Muck enter the field, and now knowing Infernape just outruns Zam, I take it out without any risk, getting off a Declaw and watch as a useless Toxic goes off. Instead of a Stallfest, I get a Flare Blitz crit and it all ends. GG, shake my hand. Meaning, oh fun, it's Battle 4, and it's a stall fest, but real. With 4 prime targets to explode on between Melodic, DOD, Togekiss, and the scripted Umbreon lead, makes it seem like it's a fine fight, but Giratina is going to be one hell to deal with should it appear. So I drag in Old Reliable into the Togekiss plus Umbreon lead. Knowing how none of these mons are actually threats, I don't explode turn 1 in an effort to save it for later. This will complicate things quite a bit. Close Combat sadly fails to one-round the Umbreon, even without having a Chople Berry, and Disaster strikes as Reflect goes up turn 1. Metagross gets off a very useful paralysis on the Togekiss, and Meta simply gets confused. Infernape closes out the round 2 on the Umbreon, while Metagross gets some useful Meteor Mash chip with a failed attempt at boosting. Light Screen goes up as well, where everyone's favorite NUBL Mon comes out. The next turn is a dud with Protect, a failed Boom, and Deoxys trying to kill, and a failed Para attempt leaves no change. A lot happens from here. Protect is clipped several times, Menz gets paralyzed, screens go down and back up, a useful defense drop is gotten, and a Thunder Punch crit that I actually didn't want with Reflect back in the picture, where Registeel thankfully isn't Giratina. Menz hits the field again, Metagross gets paralyzed, it instantly loses its turn, while Registeel tries to turn this into a casino. With both Mons paralyzed and the Registeel evasion buffed, I have to act. Calm Mind goes off, and I'm able to get an explosion, ending Deoxys, Metagross, and Salamence, getting all of my liabilities out of the game. And on the third turn of this 2v1, with 3 connected Thunders and 2 missed close combats, it's a win. Please get me out of here. Kicking off set 7, we see a gravity team featuring 2 fake out users and fellows with low accuracy attacks. So I bring out all reliable, but plotting a delayed boom. Aggron entering as the second Mon ends up as a free lead, as close combat of course kills, and Metagross gets big chip on the scripted Blissey lead, ensuring that Metagross will not be missing anything, as the Blissey ends up clicking gravity after surviving. Yes, it puts me in a more favorable position. With one of the fake out Mons entering the field, I protect my now -1/8, baiting the fake out successfully, and explode, bringing the foe to just their Gardevoir, which can never handle both Gengar and Infernape, closing the battle with a double target. Battle 2 focuses on Lightning Rod with a very electric weak team, with one of those redirectors being a guaranteed lead, once again like the Storm Drain team. And here, there is more than one attempt. I lead poorly with Mence plus Metagross with a turn 1 boom, only killing the lead arrow thanks to the Rhyperior just deciding to protect for no reason, with a Starmie coming in to promptly take out Gengar, with of course Mence dropping shortly after thanks to a Stone Edge. The final Mon could never clutch, ending attempt 1, where attempt 2 banks on the same lead but performed a bit better. With Mence protecting turn 1 like last time, yes, both protects actually come out here, as Rhyperior does the same, Metagross eats an Earthquake but retaliates with a fatal Meteor Mash, letting me go up 4-3. From here, Starmie enters once again, prompting me to switch to Jolteon and drop the Atomic Bomb, KOing 2 of mine, the Starmie, and getting big chip on the Rhyperior. With Mence and Gengar now staring down the injured Rhyperior and Gyarados, I ignore what got me this far before the unthinkable happens. Gyarados uses Ice Fang and somehow misses the Mence through its 95 accuracy. Knowing Get Arrow once the Mence gone, next turn I protect and toss a Shadow Ball its way while the Rhyperior tries to play the game and fail. From here, it's just a simple 2v1 and the Rhyperior never had a chance. Battle 3 is a certified Hood classic. Ability swapping / canceling with slow start and truant. Here, the Regigigas always leads and the slacking always closes. So if I lead Infernape plus Metagross, I'm basically playing a 3v1, which exactly happens with a turn 1 protect plus boom, cleaving through both Mons who had just swapped their threat levels. I bring in Jolteon, who's only here to handle one single Mon, the Mew, that also now hits the field. Just for the sake of confirmation, I end up double targeting the slacking here just to ensure it's not bulked out to survive a close combat, which, hey look, it falls. Then the Mew wastes its turn with a skill swap, no longer targeting its ally, and missing the Volt Absorb that would have allowed it to completely blank Jolteon. Copying the last turn with the Thunder and Flare Blitz, the Mew falls, bringing us to a gambling purgatory. Good God, Battle 4 sucked so much. Where do I even begin? Okay, so it's an all legendary team, one that's going to be brutal to find catch-alls for, especially when my biggest weapon up to this point is going to be my biggest weakness, as this Azelf is our biggest problem. Not the Quick Claw Regirock, not the complete nonsense that Heatran just is, but this Azelf does it all. The whole team has Protect, meaning its own explosion is gonna usually get blocked by its partner, but it also has Imprison, so I can't even explode or protect against this complete onslaught, losing my best wall breaker and my best positioning tool at the same time. So attempt 1, I lead with a double protect, just hoping the game's strongest explosion goes off. He's stupid for thinking that. It doesn't, and my protect is locked, and I forfeit immediately when Enduro lets the Azelf Salac Berry go off. Attempt 2 sees me lead with 8 plus Jolteon to KO the Azelf before it can move, and I have to forfeit when Heatran claims my Metagross turn 2, preventing my boom. Attempt 3 was just me getting knowledge on Imprison. Attempt 4 sees Azelf survive Shadow Ball, then clicking the funny move. I instantly forfeit. Attempt 5 sees me trying to use Gengar as a lead to drop Azelf away. It's slower, so we reset once again. Attempt 6 sees me trying to lead 8 plus Jolt to 1 round the Azelf, then Regice just fucking explodes. Okay, it's technically still playable. Zapdos plus Regirock enter from here, and then Gengar plus Metagross from me. The Regirock killed this run with its Quick Claw, haha, just kidding, it was just Protect cock blocking my load bust, only taking the Zapdos once it obliterates Gengar's survival. But oh wait, I fooled you jackass, because Quick Claw is what ends up killing this run. Somehow, attempt 7 is the saving grace, and I actually don't know how. Turn 1 sees Jolteon fishing for a Thunder Para into turn loss, but fails utterly by missing the 70%, where Imprison goes off, and the Regice kills everything, except I lied, Mr. Monkey protected, as both Jolteon and Azelf survived somehow. Regirock comes in to protect on the next turn, where Jolteon finishes the Azelf, revealing Zapdos as the final Mon. This is where I could have thrown with my double targeting into Zapdos, as an Earthquake Earthquake, of course, wipes my board, leaving Regirock on the field, where I essentially have Gengar and a no-ability Salamence to clutch. They both attack into Regirock, failing to kill, and Mence drops immediately to a Stone Edge, as we could have expected. Where now, Quick Claw can end the run, and I just have to get lucky. And of course it goes off, but it protects, thankfully. Where on the next turn, Gengar does in fact get that frag. Thank goodness, this battle was complete dicks. Resting after this hellhole would have been nice, but gamers, the final set is knocking on our door, meaning we have a problem. My current team can't beat it. Yes, gamers, this is where our savior of a 7th Pokemon comes in to clutch the run. Gengar unfortunately has to retire for us to bring in Speed Boost Yanmega with a mild nature. Here, it's only gonna need Protect and Bug Buzz, with the questionable inclusion of U-Turn that doesn't really matter. This completely disregardable Mon is gonna take us to victory, and you're gonna see why. With the start of Set 8, we gotta deal with a Hail team, and because Slush Rush doesn't exist yet, the only ability abuse they'll have really is Snow Cloak. Just end my suffering now, please. Knowing that Abomasnow is always the lead, I take Overliable into an Articuno lead, where I kill it on the spot and observe Metagross and Abomasnow not really doing much this turn. Jirachi comes in, so knowing that it's annoying, the Protect comes, and the Explosion comes out even more for Chip, but it turned out it crits the Jirachi, so both Mons end up dropping right into a 3v1. With the Mamoswine, of course, coming in where Snowcloak cucks Shadow Ball just for Infernape to do what it does best. Of course, grabbing a super effective one-hit KO. Who could have seen that one coming? Battle 2 is another reset annoyance because Sand Team. Oh yeah, there's more Sandvale nonsense because of course we hate you. Attempt 1 begins with Infernape close combating the Tyranitar and not killing, causing Gyarados to immediately die in retaliation. This run's redeemable until that damn Uber nonsense comes out and Sandvale's all over the place. And by Sandvale, I mean having a move that's too good that my Garchomps aren't allowed to have in the trade battle, which causes this run to bleed out immediately. Attempt 2 starts with Infernape actually hitting the damage range on the Tyranitar. Sadly, it doesn't matter because Garchomp comes in next and protects in front of my Explosion, almost certainly dooming the run. What actually did me in was not reading the damn trainer data once again, clicking Yachi Berry Natural Gift with the Mence into Garchomp's Yachi Berry, where Dragon Claw probably could have guaranteed its death, pushing me to attempt 3. With Cradily as the second lead this time, Infernape again hits the range on the T-Tar, and Metagross pops a Meteor Mash with massive damage on the Root, who simply boosts itself. Infernape once again clicks Close Combat on the incoming Amistar, of course getting the one-hit KO, while Metagross at least picks up its slack on the Cradily, leaving just the Garchomp, whose Earthquake couldn't break the Metagross, who simply blew up on him, surprisingly finishing him off through the Sandvale. Battle 3 has another gimmick with a Trick Room team, with a guaranteed Slowbro lead and Slowking in the back, meaning our best lead is Metagross plus Yanmega. As always, I protect turn 1 but green this time, and 1 double kill from Amon, not having its speed challenged whatsoever. Infernape, Parasect, and Slowking all enter the field from here. And so is Doomed when I sell on the next turn, because that last turn, we accidentally get a speed boost that procs the Slowking Citrus Berry, taking it out of Infernape's kill range, into an immediate Yanmega death. Although when Gyara finally now hits the field, Parasect decides to stall another turn and Slowking goes down courtesy of Wakan Berry Natural Gift. Everyone's favorite Spore user ends up as the last obstacle remaining, after again failing to read the trainer data. Alongside watching Flail plus Focus Sash strats fail utterly, we make it. Gamers, we're at the end, and this is Mysterial's easiest Set 8 team. What on God's green earth is this monstrosity? Okay, so let me break this down for you. Bright Powder Mewtwo to hack you out with, a Lugia to be way tankier than the crest that we saw before, Resto Chesto Cresselia, just in case you missed the KO, Soldew Latios to be a nuke and a special wall, Quick Claw Groudon, and lastly, the most suffocating Amon of them all, Choice Scarf Kyogre, intended to click Water Spout. The amount of stress and nonsense that I had to cook up to even get a playable angle on this team was brutal. But here, ladies and gentlemen, is how we're gonna make this work. Groudon is just an instant reset. No ifs, ands, or buts. If it shows up, we lose. No way it dies without also prematurely killing the Metagross. God forbid the Quick Claw nonsense kicks in. Lugia is less than ideal because I already know Jolteon and Metagross are going to just bounce off it. Everyone else is what we need. So, how are we gonna pull this off? We're gonna lead wrong and reset instantly because Kyogre for attempt 1. Again, lacking the trainer data, this was just a test run to soft confirm guaranteed Mons, which is the Kyogre. But fellas, with this knowledge marinating, I got this run. Latios, fucking Kyogre, alright. Here's the big question. Do I even Oko this? Because if not, it's never winnable. I don't want to take this damage. If Jolteon gets hit, that's fine. I will simply T-Punch for the paralysis. I need to actually T-Punch Kyogre just in case. I actually have to T-Punch Kyogre here. Does it kill? That's both gonna hit Metagross. Those are both hitting him. He is going to die. Okay, never mind. Okay, okay. Yeah! This is why I need to blow up on the Latios, right? I need to explode on it. Anyways, Kyogre is gone. That's good. Now, if Lugia wants to come in, or it'd have to be Lugia or Mewtwo, yeah. Either one of those can come in. There is an angle to this being playable. There will be an angle. All right. Yeah, Mega's got to come in. I need the damage, and I need speed boost to go up, and I need to protect. All of these have to come together perfectly. That is not Groudon. That is perfect. Basically, assuming Cress is in the back, I get speed boost to outrun it, and I get to hit it with Bug Buzz. I don't have Shadow Ball anymore because I wanted Kyogre to be the third slot, but obviously that's not happening. And Gyarados is in the back because there is Rain. It only has Psychic and Ice Beam, so what I have to do here is I have to D-Dance and then spam Aqua Tail until it dies. Honestly, I'm curious if even setting up is going to be worth it. But I will have to try because this thing does have Rest and Chesto Berry. We're on the last mon. I'm surprised it was this easy to get a successful, like, a close run, so I don't want to jinx it with success, right? But there's our speed boost. Important. Probably important. It probably just outruns it naturally, actually. And that is a Cress. There is no Groudon in sight. No Lugia in sight. We have Rain up. All of these are very important to get damage on this tanky sack of shit. We D-Dance. Big Bug Buzz. It needs to kill Yanmega as soon as possible because it's just a lot of immediate damage. Aqua Tail probably just killed immediately and I might have just thrown. But we're going to ignore that part, okay? We're going to ignore that doing way more than I thought it would. It's Calm Mind. Okay. If I hit with Gara, I win. If Gara hits, it's a win. If Gara hits, he wins. If Gara fucking hits the Aqua Tail, it is a win. Still faster, dude. He's awesome. And just like that, gentlemen! Oh, we're so fucking back. Only one reset needed here. Yes, sir, gentlemen. Oh, that feels fucking amazing. Gamers, that's it, man. This save file can be put to rest. Thank you for watching. And just like that, Pokemon Battle Revolution was completed with rentals-only Pokemon, proving that at least the Masters Battle is completable without imports, making the so-called requirement of imports to beat the game's content seem much less so when the game's hard, handcrafted challenge content lacks the need for reins. Overall, the challenge was fun, although I probably wouldn't recommend playing it for yourself, mainly because the grind required to get the playable mons in the first place takes all the wind out of the sails for a multi-week, multi-month adventure, where the main challenge is just the preparation itself. Regardless, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We're done. And until next time, could I please play one game with proper documentation that doesn't lead me to throwing through illiteracy?